What's up guys, welcome to today's video. As you can see, we're doing something a little bit different, making a tier list for Brandt Gate ride lines. Now we've organized them all neatly in the pile currently, and we'll be going over them, that being myself, Silver, and Deli. Of course, we've ranked them by S meta, the things that you will see in tournaments and topping. A, relevant, they could top, they're pretty good. B, the ones that you will mostly enjoy and that you can definitely have some fun games with. C, as the decks that need some more support, just that little bit to boost it. D, the decks that are struggling and really need something to actually make the deck good again. So without further ado, we'll get straight into it. Do keep in mind, these are our opinions. This is what we think about all these decks. And of course, if you don't agree with us, you can let us know in the comments. We can have a nice, constructive discussion about it. For now, let's get straight into it. Take it away, Silver.
To start off this tier list, we're going to go a little bit set by set. The first ever Brandt Gate ride line to ever come out was Prison. So right now, I feel Prison is in a very good spot after receiving both of its new promos. We also made a deck video about it a few weeks ago. I've been playing it a lot lately, and my win streak, my winning odds are fairly high. It's a very aggressive rushdown deck now, and I feel in current meta and against current decks, that really does a lot. So for me, I would place it in meta or at least relevant.
I agree with meta ranking. Like, the deck has some counters that really hurt when it happens, but this deck has so much potential to catch your opponent off guard, and it has auto-win potential against a multitude of decks. So I would agree with the meta ranking for this one. Next up, we have Orfist. That is one of my favorite decks in all of Standard at the moment, and we are currently listing it as the Masques version. I would definitely put it like either in meta or relevant. The world engine is just so smooth, it just does everything you need. It can blow your opponent away just like that. The power lines are good, but it does struggle with being a mask deck, making it a bit inconsistent sometimes. So either I put it on the top of relevant or at the bottom of meta.
Personally, I would say it's more on the relevant side. Like you said, the fact that it can break very hard without its mask is sometimes very frustrating in mask decks.
I do agree.
And personally, I don't really think Orfist has a healthy hand size most of the time. It definitely can, but sometimes it can really struggle against some aggressive decks.
Yeah, something that counter rushes Orfist does impact it a lot. There are a lot of rush decks at the moment, so I definitely agree with that.
Oops. I don't think this needs much explanation. The deck didn't really do anything after it got its masks for him.
Unfortunately, like a meteor, it fell from so high to right down below.
I do believe it could, good to see. I mean, Gravidia itself is good. It's the masks that's just bad.
Sure,
in this day and age, Gravidia is just too inconsistent. Honestly, just not hitting a single trigger on one of your drive checks basically loses you the game at this point. They did get the new Gravidia card that can stack a card, but even still, if you still don't check a trigger after that, it just feels worse.
Yeah,
I agree.
And also the Masque is just horrifyingly bad. I don't understand why they went with that direction in terms of gameplay, but yeah, I prefer base Gravidia any day over the Masques. Not that base Gravidia is a lot more consistent.
I don't think anyone prefers the Masques Gravidia over the normal one.
Alright, next up is Ava. I don't really enjoy playing. I feel like
most people don't enjoy playing her. Because Radiant, you tried to make her work for such a long while, and it worked, but you never really enjoyed it when it worked.
Yeah, I was really convinced after watching different play with it and do well with it, and I was really inspired to make the deck work. And for some reason, this deck just doesn't like me. I do believe that it's, with the promo, it's going to be bottom relevant, I believe. Like, it's definitely still fun if you enjoy the playstyle, but for me, it never worked. So, personally, I would definitely agree with fun, for the most part, to either bottom relevant. This deck could blow you out of the water, especially with the new promo. So, yeah, I'm with fun for the moment.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've honestly haven't seen it in a while, so I can't really judge it on like recent experiences. So yeah, for me, fun is fine as well.
B heroes. Like, I know quite well, I have quite a bit of experience with it. I definitely say it's worthy of the relevant tier. And it's a deck that goes very hard, very early on. It can do a lot of grade 2 turns. But
you've beat my face a lot with this one already.
Yeah, if you don't find your bases, then you just take up your cards and leave the table. Is the main problem keeping it back. Will she give us a second base, please? Thank you.
Yeah, if it gets a second base, this deck might be like top of S tier. Like, this deck can blow you out of the water immediately. It's insane.
I think also one of the only things it may struggle against is a little bit more controlling decks. If your field keeps getting wiped, I think eventually you will run out of resources.
Yeah. Yeah, we also the deck did get some cards to help with retire matchups. And from the grade 3, where you can base itself and some other card to draw. So you can empty itself a bit. I think mainly would struggle against something like Prison, where the soul would get emptied. As not having soul being pretty much denying you the ability to guard from the base is such a huge downside.
And the base guarding thing is also one of the best features of the deck. That 15k shield, boy, is absolutely amazing.
Yes, correct. Being able to recycle it with your other cards, it just creates a wall, and then you just hope to pressure your opponent as quickly as possible before that wall runs out.
I'm at least happy that Heroes finally got a little bit of love and affection.
I do too.
I honestly think it might be higher than Orfist. Might be just barely. Like, these decks are like, Orfist has that explosive power like late game, and if you get lucky, a bit early. But Heroes, they can just, like, if you see your bases, it doesn't stop. Like, it just gets everything it needs.
Absolutely true. I do think it's above Orfist as well.
Yeah, I would put it in front.
Okay.
I have to put my boy. Like, I have to be honest.
All right, next up, the new Welstra.
The new boy. Instantly, I've already played a lot against it. I would instantly say it's meta.
I agree. This deck is amazing. We didn't even put old Welstra on here because, it's just so good. Just turbos out. Like, Silver, you've faced it a lot, so...
Yeah, the fact is, this deck can just put you to -7 consistently almost every turn is honestly horrifying to go up against. It also has very decent filtering and defensive options, and contrary to what you might want to think, you really want to play slower against this deck, or at least I did so in my matchups, because the more counterblast you give it, the deader you are next turn.
Yeah, for sure. If you try and aggro this deck, it will just eat you alive. Like, you need that hand. You need to, like, drip feed them that counterblast, because they will use that counterblast, and they will use it well. The fact that divine skill, it's not what we hoped for at the start, but they got exactly what they needed. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, a bit more support, and this like, just the correct type of support, and this deck will be nigh unstoppable.
I will say though, to play Welstra, you need to be really good at resource management, because you really have to get creative in how you use your soul on your counterblast. Do need a little bit of forethought while playing it. I would put it higher than Prison though.
Yeah, I was gonna ask to actually put it higher than Prison. I think so as well.
I do feel like it's stronger. Both of the decks are very explosive, but I feel like Welstra is a little bit less double-edged. Prison tends to sacrifice hand for a really good early game. Welstra can just have good early game and still conserve hand. So I think Welstra has the edge.
Alright, next we have Arkhite.
Honestly, I feel like this deck is the embodiment of fun, but I would just say she needs more support. They barely give her any relevant monsters to work with. Yeah, most of her monsters are always just like Eva supports, and then they barely do anything for Arkhite herself. For example, now the new Arkhite promo, it is a monster, so you can run it in Arkhite. It does have a skill that is a little bit relevant, but it's just like not dedicated to her. So she really just needs a little bit like of specific love.
She's definitely fun, but she does need more support. Like, I do believe like both is true. Like, this deck is really fun to play. Like, it's amazing, but it definitely needs more. Like, I remember like it getting monster support, but it was just like Grifogila cards. I was like, why? This could easily still have like an Arkhite effect and still do stuff. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. She constantly gets like quote unquote support, but it's never actual support for her.
So I definitely put her above Gravidia. Like, don't disrespect the girl. Yeah.
I won't lie though, I feel like Gravidia does win in this matchup because it completely destroys Arkhite's fields.
Yeah, but like we don't particularly pit the decks against one another in this case. It's like using the deck and like what you could do with it. If you face them off against each other, yes, Gravidia would have a clear advantage, but
yeah, but Arkhite also has very real brick potential, a little bit the same as Heroes. If you don't find your 3 research orders, you're absolutely doing nothing the entire game.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, they didn't get like something that filters out their base, research. That filters out their research more like Ava honestly has. Like, they have the same rideline skills, but you need that first research to get started.
You always have to mulligan to get your research order in hand already so that you can definitely get to 3 research. So that's why I would still leave it under Gravidia. Gravidia doesn't really brick most of the time.
Next up, Avantgarda. Yeah. I'd either put it at the top of fun or bottom relevant because this guy, like, it's just an embodiment of like hit hard, hope your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do. Like, just Vanguard swing after Vanguard swing and try and keep the steam rolling. But yeah, I don't consider it a meta deck. Like, it has some good like counters to like certain decks. Especially like recently the new deck from the Vines, Milano?
Valeno, yeah.
Yeah.
It completely counters that deck.
Completely counters it. It hurts it so bad, but like then again, like, will people be running a lot of Valano? I'm not sure at the moment. So this deck is really strong now. Don't sleep on it. Like, Richter did bring very good consistency boosts to this deck. But then again, if its gimmick runs out, you're done. Like, this deck does run out of steam. Very hard.
I would say it deserves a little bit of a higher spot in my opinion. Like, I always feel like I'm very pressured when I'm going against it. Like, I never feel safe against this guy.
That's mainly because I trigger stack. That's
yeah, but the thing is, the deck itself has really good filter potential, so the trigger stack is actually justified, which is the most horrifying part about this deck.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. I really like playing the deck. I think it's really cool, but I never feel safe while piloting it. I'm constantly like, oh no, what's going on? I feel much safer running something like Heroes or Orfist. But
I will say, usually they have a big hand, but like the hand is pretty frail because most of it is grade 3s and orders.
Yep. So that's why I wouldn't like put it at the top of the relevant list, but it's definitely relevant. It can blow somebody out of the water.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The deck can make some scary numbers. The restanding Vanguard swings. It's not to be slept on.
Not to mention the rear guard swings. What do they get up to easily? 40k, 50k?
Yeah, it's quite big. And they also have one of the best consistency tools with finding their orders.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Yeah, he's good in the middle. I'll agree. Yeah.
Now, we get to look at the promo boss.
Do we have to talk about this guy?
I've seen this deck being played once, and I wasn't really impressed by anything it did. I feel like most set orders aren't designed around the fact of spamming out a bunch of different ones.
Yeah, that's the biggest design flaw in Brandt Gate for this guy particularly. Most of the set orders are so specifically designed around their targeted boss units that they really don't do anything for this guy. Like, yeah, you can run a random meteor in your deck, but that's then just a free soul charge for basically a discard from hand.
Yeah. We tried this deck, like, I think one evening, and then we were like, no, this guy isn't doing anything. I
also tried to build this deck once, and it was honestly so painful to try.
Yeah, it deserves its slot. Let's move on.
Move on to better things as we take a look at Messiah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's fun.
Yep, for sure. Like, his order is really good. The new order, it really helped, but it needs more.
I would honestly say it's already pretty relevant.
Yeah, I feel like it's still like the weakest Stride deck set. Sadly, like
with that, I honestly don't agree. I feel like Chronojet at this point has fallen beneath it.
Think so? I think Chronojet's still pretty strong. Like,
well, the thing is, like all the Stride sets, it has the same strengths and weaknesses. If your game grinds on for long, you're just gonna win from the huge power gain.
Oh yeah.
But contrary, if your opponent gets to choose who goes first, then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, that's why I would put it at the top of fun, but it does auto win if it can grind out the game long enough. It doesn't have the resources that it used to have, like in its older iterations, like back in G, but it's still just a very good deck if it gets the right setup and the right pieces. I think, given if it ever gets like a good dedicated Stride deck set support wave, this could be easily one of the most scary decks in the format. So I would put it at fun for now, but I could see it at the bottom of relevance.
I could also say it's at bottom of relevance.
See, I've never felt pressured by a Messiah player. I've not played against it that much, but every time I played against it, I felt pretty safe and comfortable, just outpacing them at every point.
Maybe I'm just traumatized. Usually when I go against Messiah players, they OT me.
Oh, that's
a
different story.
That is a situation you cannot escape from.
Yeah.
That's true for any of these decks, unfortunately.
Yep. We do have the best OT.
Well, alright, next is Silhouette.
Honestly, I know this guy just got like a new promo, I think it was, but Jesus Christ, what is this deck even trying to do?
It wants to be Buffsagra, but Buffsagra with multi-attack?
It's just very clumsy the way it works.
It's the funniest front trigger deck in the format, that's what it is.
Yeah, true. True.
Maybe check a front to give your Vanguard plus 30.
I would consider it fun, like the bottom of fun. Like, it needs more.
Oh no. I truly consider it as it needs more support. And with more support, I mean, I think it honestly needs like a new grade 3 version of itself.
Ooh.
They just need to streamline it a little bit more because I don't think the concept they were going for is working.
I don't think they need a new grade 3 as much as they would need new arms to equip on them.
Like, it got the drill now? Like, I think it got the drill as a new arms card. But if they give it like a jackhammer or something, or like a chainsaw, then we're cooking. Yeah. I mean, Welstra stole one of the arms. Well, he asked Silhouette to make one lore-wise. So they're stealing his gimmick. So it's got to be doing something right. Yeah. Like, yeah, needs more support is fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. Alright, our penultimate entry in this list is the newest one. Well, I guess Welstra is newer, but this is the Divine Starter deck.
I'm gonna let you guys rave about this one because I know you're very, very excited to talk about the new Nova Grapplers.
Yay, the little Nova Grappler that could. Yeah, this deck needs something. It definitely needs a lot more than just support. Like,
It feels very underwhelming.
I want to put it in irrelevant, but not in the same
above
way
the
that
order
he
one.
is irrelevant. This deck, it could function and do things, but its main order piece is so bad in the sense that it costs you Counterblast. It's essentially a discard, it doesn't plus you, and all it gives is a little power increase.
Yeah, not even a lot. Like, it's such a shame. Like, they could have done so much more with this.
Why is the Counterblast cost on there?
Yeah.
Why doesn't it
You should
plus
have
you?
free.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
agree.
terrible. It's really bad. And I've seen the monster toolbox lists, and I do understand the concept, but at that point all you're doing is playing a 4-attack deck with a generic engine around it. And just trying to filter to hope to secure triggers. I don't think that's really that good.
No, because one defensive can honestly stop your entire turn most of the time.
So we will probably get more support for these guys. We've already seen some new cards in set 1 and 2. I feel like it needs just a better rearguard or a better order, something to make it actually playable. But it's not.
This one definitely has the most potential of going higher in upcoming sets. At the moment, it deserves where it is. You know what also deserves to be an irrelevant?
That's right, people. Last is Brandt Gate's version of Gravidia.
Yeah.
Straight up for that, I want to say this is basically the same problem as the promo boss.
Yep.
Again, it wants to work around all these different kind of set orders, but they don't really work generically all that well.
Yeah, so all you're left with is playing things and gives you markers. And it's
Exactly.
legit, like, you just run really bad cards for the rest of the slots and you just hope that you survive long enough to overtrigger your opponent.
Which is almost never the case these days.
Yeah, this deck really doesn't. We really tried. Like, we actually have a list for it. We made it short and stuff, and we were like, this is just horrible. Like, we really tried. We even put in the unit that like somebody requested, and like it's a meme. We should put a meme in the category. I'm sorry, Grifogila. No. Yeah, make it meme. Memes. There he is. There we go. And that's it for this list currently, I believe. Yeah, closing thoughts. Brandt Gate is in a good position. I like Brandt Gate.
Widespread of both bad and good decks. I feel like it's pleasant to look at. I'm glad we made a shape. I look at it like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Very, very pleasant.
It looks healthy. This is what a healthy nation looks like. With a healthy OT. Oh.
Yeah, right, we should add another tier on top that just has the overtrigger in it. That would make it perfect.
Watch it above, like OT. We'll put it just over it, like OT for game.
Yeah, just cover all the decks with the overtrigger.
So yeah, that's it for us. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.